Lesson 11.3, Surface Area, your second last lesson of the 6th grade school year. So make sure you have pencil, paper, and calculator ready to go. Do not think that you missed something. We are skipping ahead into chapter 11, so that way we have this lesson covered. It's one of the vital lessons that you're going to need for 7th grade. So first, before we get into the actual math, I want you to look at these three awesome pictures. You got a man, a woman, and a dog. So either in your head or on your paper if you want to, make as many pairs as you can, as many unique pairs as you can out of these three things. Pretend we were making partners or something in class. What are the different combinations of partners you can have out of these three things? So you could pause if you want, or I'll just give you the answer. So we have man and woman. Okay, we have man and dog, and then we have woman and dog. Those are the three combinations that we can make out of these three options that we have. So keep this little experiment in mind as we move on to the actual math section here. Oh, and you might be saying, what about woman and man and dog and man and dog and woman? It's the same thing. The order doesn't matter in this case. Okay. So this is our problem. You can write it down if you want, but it's not necessary. Alex is designing wooden boxes in which to store his books. Each box measures 15 inches by 12 inches by 10 inches. To know how much wood to buy, he needs to find the surface area of each box. What is the surface area of each box? Talked about this a little bit in class. So area is something that we learned in the previous lessons. We had triangle, parallelogram, and trapezoid. And area is for two-dimensional objects. Surface area is for three-dimensional objects. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a box in front of us, but you know what a box looks like. You all have had some sort of box as in part of your life at some point. So we have 1, 2, 3 faces that we can see here, the flat pieces. This is kind of like the front, this is the top, and this is the side. All right, now remember there is a matching side for each one of these. So there's a top, there's obviously a bottom to the box, there's a side, there has to be another side. And if there's a front, there has to be a back. Otherwise, stuff would fall out of the box. And then I also mentioned 3D or three-dimensional. Three-dimensional, yes, it means you can touch it and stuff like that, and hold it, but the three dimensions are these. Boom, boom, boom. The 15, the 10, and the 12. Those are your three unique dimensions. Now, one way you can find the surface area is to make a net. A net is kind of like a blueprint for a box. We did this in class, I believe. I think you probably remember doing this. We kind of drew this on a piece of graph paper, then we cut it out and folded it together and taped it, and it became a little box. So that's what this is supposed to represent here. And if you notice in this net, B and D are identical. They are congruent. A and F are identical, and C and E are identical. So a box, or more appropriately, a rectangular prism, has 6 rectangles, which you can see right here, and it has 3 different pairings for the rectangles, or it has 3 different pairs of congruent rectangles. So you have this one you can see, and the one on the back. You have this one and the one below it, and this one on the side. So just like we did with the picture of the man, the woman, and the dog, let's make as many combinations as we can out of the 3 dimensions, the 15, the 10, and the 12. So we have 12 times 10, 12 times 15, and 10 times 15. So let's write those 3 different combinations down on our paper. And I used colors. You don't have to. I just used that to kind of show you the different combinations. So we had a red with a blue, a red with a purple, and a blue with a purple. So each one is matched up with each number exactly once, and the order doesn't matter. So it could be, for this one, 10 times 12, this one could be 15 times 12, and this one could be 15 times 10. It does not matter the order when you multiply. right? As mentioned before, each one of those faces that you see here, the 1, this face, 2, this face, and 3, has a matching face that you can't see because this is a box, but it is a picture. It's a 2-dimensional picture of a 3-dimensional object. So what you're going to have to do is take each one of those combinations and multiply it by 2 because there is 2 of them. There is 2 12 by 10 faces, which is this one. There is 2 12 by 15 faces, which is this one right here. And there is 2 10 by 15 faces, which is this one right here. So we're going to double it. So we made our combinations, and then we just multiplied each combination by 2. So let's do that right now. You can do it on your calculator. You have 12 times 10 times 2 is 240. 12 times 15 times 2 is 360, and 12 times 15 or 10 times 15 times 2 is 300. To find the surface area, what you're doing is you're finding the area of all of the 2D objects that make up the 3D object. So here, remember, we had 6 rectangles. So what is the area of all 6 of the rectangles added together? All we need to do is take these numbers and add them: 240, 360, 300, and that gives you 900 inches squared. So the surface area is each face's area added together. So it's this one and the back. It's this one and what we would call the bottom. And it's this side, this left side of the box, and what we would call the right side of the box. So you could draw a net. I prefer this way. I taught it earlier in the year to green because I wasn't sure if we'd get to it in time before the PSSA. So green kind of had this lesson, and this is the way I taught them, and it seemed to really work. There is, of course, a formula if you're a big formula lover. So I would like you to test this out too. So on your paper, I'll make sure you have all this first of all. But on your paper, why don't you write down this formula in case you like using formulas. And I know next year, Mr. Zern said he'll give you the option too, whichever way you want to solve it. So maybe formula might be your way. So we have A equals 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. So the L stands for length. That's what these are here. Remember, we use lowercase l's, preferably cursive ones, but you can't really use cursive on a computer. W stands for width, and H stands for height. Now, it does not matter which one you consider which here. I guess I kind of think of this as like the width and this the height and this the length, but it doesn't matter as long as you are using each number with each combination, just like the man, the woman, the dog thing that we did at the beginning. As long as each number is going, or each dimension is going with each dimension at exactly one time. So here I have the color codes again. So you don't need to color code on your paper, but what I would like you to do is to substitute those values. So instead of 2LW, it's going to be 2 times 12 times 10. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what you consider the length and the width. I just picked these two because they're right next to each other. And then for 2LH, or 2 times length times H, we're going to use that same number that we used for the L last time, which is 12. And then this time we're going to multiply by the H, or essentially the number that we did not use yet. So that's going to be this 15. And then the final thing is going to be the final combination that we haven't used yet, which would be the width and the height, or in this case, the 10 and the 15. So it's going to be 2 times 10 times 15. Now, you can type this all into your calculator and get an answer because most calculators should do the order of operations, but don't risk it. So we're going to do 2 times 12 times 10 gives you 240, 2 times 12 times 15 gives you 360, and 2 times 10 times 15 gives you 300. Then we just need to take 240, 360, and 300 and get the sum, which is 900. And either way you look at it, your answer is 900 inches squared. And this is for the surface area of a rectangular prism. So those are two ways. There's lots of different approaches to this. You can definitely go and go on YouTube and see if there's something that you like better. But I'm going to kind of deal with what I just showed you here. So we'll see how we do on the next one. So make sure you have 900 inches squared for your answer.